Welcome to episode one of Exit the Matrix. I wanted to create the series to help people understand what are the five different gates that you need to go through to exit the matrix as a software engineer, developer, techie, or any other person, really, because this is a psychological and awakening journey that every person gets to go through. Based on my experience, I've seen so many people go through this, but many people kind of end up destroying their lives because they don't know how to navigate these stages. And the reason why I wanted to create this is because I see a lot of people feeling lost nowadays. We live in uncertain times. There's war everywhere, conflict. The whole world is being bombarded with these negative news about the end of the world as we know it, maybe the collapse of the economy, the collapse of many things as we know them. And this is kind of creating a lot of hunger with people for answers. I feel people are hungry for answers, hungry to understand what is going on. And there's so many different questions, but also there's so many things that are misleading out there. So I wanted to give my view on this and my journey in coming from being a zombie like software developer, working a corporate job, to someone who is able to see the world, understand it for what it is, and take action based on that towards generating income and creating the life that I want without sacrificing my freedom and autonomy. And the first chapter or the first gate in this transition in exiting the matrix, I call it the rupture, because every person faces an event in their life that makes them start asking questions. You start questioning even your existence, like, say, why am I even here? And this can be a pretty traumatizing event. And though the different chapters that I'm going to talk about, they're not necessarily linear. Some people might hit different stages at different times in their lives. But I wanted this series to be a cohesive, comprehensive guide for the different gates that people go through and how to deal with them. What does each gate mean and how to deal with them and navigate through them. And so the rupture for me was what I experienced in 2014, which is the loss of my cousin, loss of our granddad. It was the first time for me outside the country, away from home, when I first moved to the UK. And I wasn't even able to travel back because I spent all my money to go to uni and like rent a place in London and so on. So I didn't even have income to come back home to be with my family, to grieve with them. So I had to face all that by myself. And on top of this, a very severe breakup, very toxic, painful breakup that I had to face as well. So all of this kind of broke me. It's just like destroyed me mentally and psychologically. And I got to a place where I started not even able to differentiate between reality and imagination. I started like trying to touch stuff to make sure that I'm seeing the actual thing and I'm not just hallucinating. So that's how bad it got. And in the midst of all this, I started asking questions like, why is this happening with me? What is the meaning of life, even? Like, why do I have to go through all this pain? I don't see the point of any of it. And it got pretty bad. But thankfully, because I've always been a curious mind, I've always had this kind of curiosity about the world, about myself. I always wanted to find answers to questions. I picked up Think and Grow Rich, which was one of the most phenomenal reads for me. I would like to read it again. And this book shifted my perspective because it had an answer for me that, hey, the way that you think can shape your world. And that was like a mind blowing thing for me because I came from a place where, hey, life is just life. You're born poor or rich and you just grow up, and whatever your family or society offers to you, that's what you get. And you just like walk on through life. And back then, my goal was to get a job at 65K. I remember telling my flatmate, hey, if I can land a job at 65K in London, I'll be on top of the world. And this is really the peak of pride for my family because I'm the first person to go through uni. both sides of the family. And if I can get this job, this high paying job in London, I will have achieved the peak of achievements. So that was the worldview that I was working with. And as I started reading this book, I was like, wow, like I can change my reality through my thinking, my psychology. And I started reading more into that. And that's where I got introduced to this whole world of psychology and how our psychology is wired and shaped. And I kind of started on two paths. Like the first one is understanding myself better, and the second one, understanding the reality of the world. And this sparked a 10 or 12-year journey for me that kind of peaked in me having a corporate job near six-figure salary and quitting that and wanting to start my own business and then going traveling and having a whole awakening experience and journey to understand myself and the world. And this is the journey that I'm going to attempt to summarize in these few episodes in the series. And that's how it all started. This crack, having to face all that. And one of the main themes in this journey has been using pain as my teacher. So every time an event like this had happened after that point, I was like, okay, so what is this pain trying to tell me? And I found myself after every event kind of resorting to studying something, to learning something. So the first time it was Think and Grow Rich. And then beyond that, I think it was part of a business course that I had. I went into quantum physics and I started to understand how the world is shaped through quantum physics and the double slit experiment and really the science behind how we create our own reality, because I always was curious and I always wanted things to make sense. Like having a scientific mind, I always wanted to make sense of things, and I don't want to take things just on face value like we were taught in religion. And these are definitely topics I'm going to dedicate episodes to. But basically, we came from a place where, hey, you were born Muslim, you got to take these principles, adapt them in your life, and that's it. You don't get to question that. And even like if you question, you're called kafir, and you can be threatened by death if you question certain things in your religion. So that's the level of fear that was and the red tape around questioning the principles that you learned. So to me, being in that environment by myself, I had the advantage of like, hey, I get to question everything. Okay, what if everything that I was taught by my family, by my parents, by my society, by my religion isn't really all that is? Because, hey, I was told that there's only this group of people that are going to go to heaven and everyone else is doomed to hell. And when I went to London and I started seeing other parts of the world, I was like, damn, all these people who are doing amazing things, they are creating these companies, creating jobs for people, helping people, mentoring people. Because I had a mentor who was British and he was like kind of Christian or Jewish or whatever, but definitely not Muslim. And this guy was the nicest guy I've ever met in my whole life. And here I am coming from a place where people are telling me, oh, only this small group of Muslims are going to go to heaven and everyone else is going to go to hell. They are doomed. So these are the kinds of things that started to be destroyed. So, and I was like, okay, if this is wrong, then what else is wrong? And that's where I started to question everything. And this is something that you kind of like bring into entrepreneurship and the world of business, because it's one of the core pillars of being successful in business, to really take things back to first principles. These are the things that started to fall apart for me, and I had to rebuild from there. But as an action for you today, so I'm going to talk more in detail about all of these things. But what I want you to take away from today is that, okay, let's start with the rupture. Okay, where do you feel things are cracking for you? What things are not making sense for you? Are you going through a painful experience that you're not able to make sense of? Do you feel like you are hopeless, or you're struggling to find a strong reason to navigate the world or to live in this world? I want you to start to ask these questions and start to identify what are the events or things or triggers that are happening in your life that are leading you to this state, so we can start building from there. So you can start using this event or situation to guide you. And I'm not going to tell you, oh, these are the books that you need to start reading, or these are the teachers that you need to start teaching. Every person has a personal kit that is private and personal to them. Maybe you will inspire from stuff that I share with you, but I will never tell you these are the things that you need to start. You need to start building your own worldview. And this is the journey that I want to take you with me. I want you to have a transformation in your worldview, because this is going to help you find purpose, find a strong reason to exist, and find a strong reason to thrive, make more income, and create the life that you want without sacrificing your freedom and autonomy. So, this is the journey that I would like to take you on with me. But that's a lot of the tools and the inspirations and the things that you're going to integrate into this journey are going to be yours. So, you need to take ownership of that. You can always inspire, but I want you to be the boss of that. I want you to be the owner of this. So I look forward to take you with me on this journey, and I will see you on the next episode.